All right, here's a quick demo of what we were working on in class today in case you get stuck at home. So remember that in order to solve any of these percent problems, we're going to set them up as proportions, and we are going to use a skeleton. And all of these are going to start with 100 here, and the interchangeable parts are going to be the percent number would go there. If we're dealing with a word problem like we are over here, then we would have to consider part and whole. And if we're dealing with a just a simple statement like we are on this side, then we would be looking for the words is to represent the part and of to represent the whole. So what we're going to do is we are going to read this problem. Test has 40 questions, and the student got 15% of the questions incorrect. How many questions did they get wrong? So we're going to start by setting up the proportion with my little skeleton here with 100. And then I always ask myself, do I know the percent? So I do. It's 15%. So the percent will always go above 100. And then I have to ask, is this the part or the whole? Is this part of the test or is it the whole test? And based on the way it's worded, it says the test has 40 questions. So that tells me that the whole test is 40 questions. And then my unknown piece is going to be the part that they got wrong. What I'm going to do next is, and this is what we discussed in class, the first thing, I'm going to keep it a little briefer than we did in class, but the first thing we're going to do is cross multiply our loops. And the loops would be, we're going to loop diagonally like this, and we're going to loop diagonally like that. Okay. My advice is to always do the x loop first. So the x is looped with 100, so we're going to put 100 times x. Remember to use the dot for multiplication once we start using variables. And the other loop is 40 times 15. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify this. 100 times x is just 100x. We always just put the number and the variable together, and 40 times 15 is 600. Oops, I don't know why it did that. Well, let me back it up here a second. Let me delete this. Sorry, friends, I don't know what happened here. So 600 will be my answer. And then my final step is going to be to divide by the coefficient of x. Sorry, this is sloppy, but I'm trying to do this quickly. And the coefficient of x is just the number that we're multiplying by x. So in this case, it's 100. So I'm going to actually divide both sides. Let me include that. So both sides are going to get divided by 100, and that's going to keep it balanced as an equation. Over here, 100 over 100 is 1, and 1x is just x, so the 100s go away nice and quietly. And then on this side, 600 divided by 100 is 6. So to answer the question, how many questions did the student get wrong? They got 6 wrong. We're going to do the same thing for this one on the other side, but this one doesn't, it's not a word problem. So we're just going to use those keywords is and of. I'm going to set it up the same way. And I'm going to ask myself, do I know the percent? I do. 32%. And it says of 300, so that's my of word. Sometimes it might say what is, in that case that is indicating that the is part is the unknown. And I'm going to set up and solve this one the same way. I'm going to do my multiply my loops. So again, x times 100. And then on the other side, I've got 300 times 32. 100 times x is 100x, and 300 times 32 should be 9,600. And then my final step here is going to be to divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 100 again. So those whole 100s cancel, leaving me with x equals 96. So this is what we did in class. This is what we had written on the board. And every single one of these we're going to set up and solve the same way.